So I've decided to do a review, which I've never done before, but this is one of my current favorite bands. That band is Ghost. Prequelle came out on Friday. I got it on Friday. I wanted to give it a couple listens before I reviewed it. So, like, what is there to say about the album that hasn't already been said? Yeah, some people say it's really poppy. Some people say it's too poppy. Some people say they sold out. Guess what, folks? They've always been poppy. Yeah. Even Opus Eponymous was an extremely poppy album. Listen to a song like Elizabeth, for instance. That song is extremely poppy. The chorus. And they've always had that, I'm not even going to say a pop undertone. It was a complete pop overtone. So where to begin with Prequelle? It's a near perfect Ghost album. There are a few tracks that are less essential than the others. So I'm going to do a track by track, which seems to be the format, if you will. And even the songs that I thought were weaker, like the incredible closer, Life Eternal, really grew on me. I found that out today. I was listening to it, reading the lyrics, and I realized how powerful and how great of a closer that is. I just said opener, didn't I? Fuck it, whatever. As I said before, a lot of people are claiming that this is their, pop sellout album. Well, you know what? They've always had that pop kind of sensibility to begin with. While this album isn't as epic as something like Meliora, which was the perfect Ghost album, it really had all those great heavy riffs, awesome lyrics. The drumming was excellent. The bass, as a bass player myself, Ghost is one of those bands that their bass guitar has always been right up front in your face, and I really like that. You can really hear the bass riffs. So the opener, Ashes, it's kind of an ongoing theme with the album. It has to do with the Black Plague. A lot of people have been saying, that this is a cliche way to open the album, But a lot of other bands that have used this before, they didn't use it in this kind of format, whereas the album has this continuous, it's more about, it's kind of like a concept album about the Great Plague. So using Ashes in that manner is really cool. Then it slams into this, the band comes in and it's got this, like the drums really sound good. And then, from there it segues into Rats, which is, I do remember when the day this song dropped on YouTube, I was like, oh my God, whoa, new Ghost song. And I immediately fell in love with the song. I thought it was great, catchy, everything that Ghost should be. It was heavy, but heavy in a different kind of way. But they've never been like a super heavy band to begin with. So it did have that 80s kind of feel to it, which I'm all for. I mean, I was a kid in the 80s, so that was kind of like a cherry on top of the sundae when Ghost, Rats does have that kind of riff that reminds me of mid to late 80s Alice Cooper, which is really great. Faith is the third track on the album, and it's easily the heaviest offering on the album. It starts out with this great guitar harmony, this minor guitar harmony that really smacks you right in the face immediately, and it gives way into this like really sludgy kind of metal, it's a riff that I believe would probably make somebody like Dimebag Darrell really proud. I'm sure if he were still alive today, I'm sure he'd be a huge Ghost fan, being that old school kind of metal guy he was. And that song really does, to me, it does almost sound like a Dimebag Darrell riff, but not in a cliche kind of rip-off way. And, the the refrain, faith is mine. It's really cool. Awesome song live, too. We saw that live. The next song, See the Light, is, it's pretty much, it's a good song. It's a good song, but is it as good as the rest of the album? Probably not. It is some call it a ballad. I don't really see it as a ballad. It starts out slow, and it does kind of build into a great, kind of hooky chorus. So that, I didn't like the song at first, but it has grown on me. Is it the best thing on the album? Absolutely not. Miasma is the next song, track 5. Miasma was awesome live, but as far as, on it, does it really fit on the album? It's a little overly long for what it has to offer. It is pretty much the same melody for the 5.5 or so minutes it lasts. So the one redeeming quality, though, is the awesome saxophone solo at the end. But that's a song that, they probably could have left as a bonus track or something, not smack dab in the middle of the album. Track 6, Dance Macabre. That song, in my opinion, will probably be the biggest song on rock radio this summer. I might be wrong, but it's easily the catchiest thing I've heard from a rock or metal act in quite some time. Again, it does have that 80s kind of sound similar to Rats, but it does have that like a late 80s, early 90s Tony Iommi kind of styling. It's a little obviously faster, but it's got that great melodic guitar riff and that undeniably catchy chorus. Definitely a song that even pop fans will probably get into. Pro Memoria, the 7th track on the album. It's a great ballad about death. As they say in the song, Your Friend Death, which kind of immediately reminds me of almost like a woodsy, like heavier version of Jethro Tull or something like that. And it does really push the boundaries into arena rock. You could imagine like the song being played in front of tens of thousands of people, lighters in the air and hands swaying back and forth, singing as one, which is great. There's a lot of songs on this album that are definitely geared towards the more arena rock thing, which is it's great for a band like Ghost, because when they first came out, even like with even leading up into Meliora, when they won the Grammy, that kind of changed the playing field for them. And they didn't win a Grammy because they dress up in costume. They won the Grammy because, I'm not. No. But the Grammys are a bunch of shit. I realize that. But that is one win, that the Grammys actually got right. They definitely deserve that. Meliora. Cerise, they won it for. And Cerise was one of those songs that is fucking phenomenal song. And you can't get much better than that as far as like rock metal goes. I am kind of, trying not to, in my opinion, Ghost is a metal band. Even still, they're a very classic metal band. They're not like screamo fucking garbage bullshit metal like Five Finger Death Punch. They're garbage. I like. You don't really need to make music to kill other people too. You don't need to fucking make music to have a bunch of muscle-bound guys throwing each other around in a pit to be considered metal. You don't. And I think a lot of people out there that they're like, oh, they're not metal. They're not. I'm going off on a rant. But Witch Image, it's a fun, poppy, kind of dancey song. I don't have a whole lot to say about that song. Again, the lyrics are very dark. They dealing with the plague again. But like "See the Light" is one of those songs that it's a good song, and it probably does have a place on the album. Is it essential? Not so much. Good song. Don't get me wrong. It's a great song, but I can see that as a track that I'll end up skipping. The next song, Helvetis Fongster. The second instrumental track on this album, I cannot say enough about this. It's almost, let's see here. I think it's almost 6 minutes long. It is instrumental, and I can't say enough about this instrumental, honestly. It's one of those instrumentals that just does not stop. It doesn't lose my interest, and it every chance I get, it changes a little bit. And it does have that, it does kind of remind me of Tangerine Dream or Goblin, some of the classic synth-driven rock movie scorer. I don't think that's a word, but composers. That's what I was trying to say. Yeah, more rock oriented composers. Like Goblin and like I said, Tangerine Dream. And it does start out that way. It starts with a great piano thing, and then gives way into this like really cool, sinister sounding synth, like kind of like roar. And then after that, the band joins in, and they use the same melody they did in Pro Memoria, but it's not lazy. They're doing it to kind of bring a more of a theme to the whole album. I'm sure I think they used it in See the Light too. Very Dream Theater-esque, or prog rock, I should say, not Dream Theater, but more prog rock. They're really bringing the whole album together. And then after that, they go into this kind of upbeat piano segue into the next section of the song, which does remind me of something like "Funeral for a Friend" by Elton John. That is really cool. And, I could probably talk about this song for another 5 minutes, because after that it goes into like this medieval kind of sounding, forest, like elves running around, I could go on and on about how much this instrumental is great, but I am kind of trying to cap it up a little bit. The last song, Life Eternal, like I said in the beginning, was a track that didn't pull me in immediately until I realized today when I was listening to it, I was like, wait a minute here. This track is a perfect closer. Most great albums do have that final track. It's a softer track. And that, yeah, it's a great song. It's got great hooks in it. And I started to realize, wait a minute here. Some of the best albums of all time did end with a great closer that could really be played at high volumes. This is another big thing I'm going to keep talking about as far as the arena rock thing. And that's not a bad thing, in my opinion. I think Ghost is a band that deserves that. They're definitely a band. They are kind of a throwback band. They definitely have that sound, but they're a band that deserves to be bigger. Especially considering their the theatrics of the live show and everything. It's definitely a band that should be seen in an arena or a huge outdoor venue. And that's my that's my opinion on this new album, which I think is phenomenal. Like I said, there are a few tracks that aren't essential, but they are still great tracks. And for being, only 10 songs, I'm glad that they did have that kind of. They knew when Ghost is a band that always knows when to pull it back. They never make overly long albums where it's filled to the brim with filler. So on that note, that was my review of Prequelle, and like I said, is it good as Meliora? Not really, but it's definitely not a bad album. It's actually a really great album, and I do recommend, if you're a fan of rock or metal, definitely go out and check it out. All right, guys, see you later.